We're at the bar, and if you had been here just a few minutes ago, you would have heard something that would have been nice. But you missed it, and it's Try Before We Die night, Malcolm.
It is, and I believe we're now officially into fall. As you can tell,
it's
starting
October.
To dress up a little bit more, get a little more layers on.
You are layered.
It's I'm still freaking keeping my vest. As you can see, my commentator here has not put a vest on for many times. We're gonna have to bring that back.
The vests are coming back. My winter beard's already in.
Winter beard, which has been the year-long beard.
This is only 11 months.
11 months.
11 months beard. 11 months beard.
Looks like a rat's nest.
It's not. It looks good, actually. I get a lot of, I spend a lot of time in rural Vermont, and I get a lot of that's impressive comments. It's up there in rural Vermont. If you're a native local, you're a woodchuck. I get a lot of you look like a woodchuck, Colin, like you're a logger. And I like that. I did have the other day a fella said, you look like a concrete worker. When I pulled in with the truck with the ladder rack and all that.
Oh my God.
He said the worst part is you probably take that as a compliment. And I did.
Yeah, I'm sure you did. I'm sure you did. At some stage we're gonna have a concrete making factory out here.
Well, I got a cement mixer in the sugar house right now.
So anyhow, we're into fall.
Yep.
That means now there's a chance that we may start to move into something a little bit more warming Scotch-wise.
Well,
and start to bring up maybe some of the other ones that we haven't, or maybe I'm a little bit more worried about seeing.
Yeah.
This is the time of year where you want to get that Scotch that has a little bit more body, a little bit more beef to it, that sort of warms you up and keeps you going.
Yeah, it's going to put us off less if that's the random bottle.
Correct.
Right. So we certainly haven't set anything up, but we certainly did make it through spring, summer, and early fall without pulling a campfire, a real dark whiskey. It just worked out well for us. And we may end up with a summer whiskey tonight, but if we end up with some of those cool weather whiskeys, we're in luck because it's going to be down in the 20s tonight up here.
Yeah, it's supposed to get chilly.
Yeah. So, and it's regular episode night. So again, the bottle's not here. It's not a bonus episode. We don't know what it's going to be. I've got the random.org fired up.
Yep. So we're going to be doing our basic call a number, walk around a bar, pick a bottle, open a bottle, take a couple sips out of that bottle,
and tell you what we think.
Tell you what you think. And I'm going to say, after the special episode we just did, 60%.
The Dragon's Breath.
Dragon's Breath.
Yeah, the Mortlock, the Black Adder.
Yeah, the Black Adder. The Black Adder, which was, that sort of now prepped me for this next stage.
There are other whiskeys.
Yeah.
Right? We've been really having a lot of smooth, vanilla, creamy whiskeys, a lot of sweet whiskeys.
Yeah.
And we may have some more of those, but at some point we are going to pull up some seaweed, some real dark, deep campfire coals, like we slept all night with our head just in the coals, and it's just going to really be there.
Raw smoke and warm mud.
Yeah.
So, anyhow, the way it works, my friend over here is going to spin up a number, and then he's going to proceed to go find that bottle. Flash, yet again, there are no numbers on the by the bottles, so he's going to count. Just like he does every time. Yeah. I apologize for that already.
It would be good if I could actually get a count without. We had it 100 last time, just rounding the corner.
I think it'd be great if it was just maybe some numbers. But it's all part of the game.
Yeah.
And it is what it is. So go ahead and spin that number.
So we're gonna generate that number. Here we go. All right, 183.
183.
So that tells me I feel pretty confident that we're gonna be on the back side. Because I think we're down to 144 here. So we're gonna go with that. Flash for you, I'm gonna go with 144 at the bottom. I feel pretty good about that. We're gonna move around the corner. We're 144, 183. All right, here we go. This part of the bar is pretty clean, so everybody's pretty fortunate because there is a mess happening in other places.
Yeah, Colin's having to move some stuff. He's doing this thing.
All right, so 144. And I think we got rows at 10. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. That's for you, Flash. 54. 2, 4, 6, 8, 64. 74. 84 minus 1 is 83. 183. So Mal may have been onto something when he talked about us having a little bit of the ocean and some mud and some sea. there certainly could be more oceany, more muddy, more seasidey whiskeys, but we've pulled an Isla.
Oh, yeah.
Any guess?
No.
Okay. So we pulled the Bowmore.
Oh?
Pulled the Bowmore small batch bourbon cask Isla single malt whiskey.
So, in the vein of what we'll be talking about, this will be another easier gateway into where we could be heading.
We can already tell by the color that it certainly isn't this dark, muddy whiskey.
No.
Right, but it is an Isla.
So that means it will have some of the tendencies which make up an Isla, which are...
Well, I don't know. No. So Isla. So there are, depending on who you're speaking with, somewhere in the neighborhood of 5 regions in Scotland for Scotch whiskies to originate from. We have the Lowlands.
Yep.
We have the Highlands.
Yep.
We have the Speyside.
Which I like.
Yep. And we have the Islas. So that's 4, right, Colin? You said. And so then sometimes they'll add in the islands. And there's a historic region known as Campbellton, which is actually located right next to Isla. But Isla is one of the main 4. And then there are these offshoot areas. And so the Isla region is located, and let's see if I can do this correctly because it always throws me off, is located on the west coast of Scotland, on an island, essentially. And it is well known for its peaty whiskeys, is the general flavor, lots of smoke in the peat. Now, I'm not familiar with this particular release from the Bowmore, but the Bowmores in general traditionally do follow that. So Mal will take a look and see if we can find something about Bowmore, and I'm going to take a look at the back of the bottle. So this is the small batch, no age statement, 40% bourbon cask matured, Isla. And so the bottle says on the eye, it's warm gold. Breathe in, vanilla fudge, sea air, and peat smoke. So, Mal, do you know what peat is?
I do, but I really can't. It's like peat is basically
You can just go simple.
it's like not a mud. It's like a compost. Is the best way I'm going to put this.
Yeah.
Or some sort of
It's
fortified.
Yeah, you've done the word compost. It's like natural sediments and woods and twigs and grasses over the thousands of years, essentially. There's peat bogs, right? So it can be, sort of this muddy kind of swampy material that the Scots will take. They'll dry it out, and because it has so much vegetative matter in it, it actually is a fuel that they'll use to heat their homes and whatnot in ancient times. And it creates this really recognizable smoky aroma. And what they'll do is they'll roast the grains with the peat, traditionally in the distilleries, and then that imparts the smoky flavor to the spirit, and then as that spirit ages, it takes on the wood from the cask. But that smoke is such a potent flavor that it stays from when they're just roasting the grains.
So not very much on more I can add, except for the fact that Bowmore is the capital of Islay, but it's barely a small little town, something like Langdon. That's what it's like.
Yep.
So basically that's what they're saying. The distillery was founded in 1779. It's been kept in beautiful condition. And they definitely, the house style, which I think is actually, this is actually wonderful that we got there. Smoky with leafy notes, ferns, and sea air. Younger ages before dinner, older after.
Right. And that makes a lot of sense to me because as it's going to age longer, it's going to become more potent with some of these very strong flavors. Now, Mal had a pronunciation error. But it's actually very common because Isla is the pronunciation, but Islay is the spelling, Islay. And it throws a lot of folks off, especially in this country, when they'll talk about and they'll say Islays, because it really is phonetically Islay, but it's pronounced Isla. And so, Mal, I don't know if you heard me go, ooh, as I finished the notes after the peat, there were some interesting flavors they're going to ask us to look for. A gentle saltiness, and then the vanilla and coconut.
All right.
Right? And then savor the so this is the piece. Savor the wispy smoke, bourbon, vanilla, and lime finish.
Wow. That's an interesting combination.
I don't
coconut,
know.
lime.
There are about 150.
Is that a song, Lime and the Coconut?
Lime with the lime and the coconut. You mix it all up.
That's actually a rather interesting combination right there.
And there are about 150 recognized flavors for Scotch whiskeys. And apparently lime is one of them, and I didn't know about that.
Well, why don't you pour a couple glasses?
Yeah, let's see. So we're looking for coconut, we're looking for lime, we're looking for smoke, we're looking for vanilla fudge. So they're suggesting that we have a complex bottle of whiskey here with all these flavors.
This is just a cornucopia of flavors.
Yeah, we were talking about Como earlier, weren't we?
Yes, we were.
All right, let's see if we can find this is one of those foil.
So this has a golden treacly color. Is the best way I'm going to put this. It's not very dark. Darker than some that we've had already, but it's not. I wouldn't call it dark.
I'd say this has been sitting around here for about 2, maybe 3 years. So I'm sort of excited to try it. This was purchased in New Hampshire, so it's pretty available. All right, here we go. Let's see if we're going to get it. Oh. Yep, we're good. Oh, fighting back.
Ooh.
That's
Rather lightly.
Really solid pop there. See, there is that classic Isla peaty smoky.
Oh yeah.
Not too much, but instantly recognizable. This would be one that if somebody were to pour you this and you had some general knowledge about Scotch whiskey, you would probably immediately be able to go, I'm thinking an Isla.
Or you would just say it's just smoky.
Well, the general whiskey knowledge.
And it really is. If you ever smell like smoke off a fire, like the coals and stuff like that, after it starts to cool down and it's just the smoky parts, that's what it does smell like. It really, it's quite unmistakable.
Wow, go ahead off the bottle too.
For a minute now, I thought he was going to say...
Yeah, we're just doing it. Yeah, the glasses are a waste of time.
Yeah, you can definitely...
All right, so let's just, one more. They've given us quite a lot here. Breathe in the vanilla fudge, sea air, and peat smoke. Sip the mouth-watering citrus, saltiness, vanilla, and coconut, and savor the smoke, bourbon, vanilla, and lime.
Okay, so you do pick up on the vanilla,
do you?
When you smell it.
Yeah, let's see. We have to do a glass episode at some point to talk about, the way the glasses are formed and it captures the flavors. We'll have to break out a Glencairn glass.
I don't know about the fudge part though, but definitely.
Oh no, I think I just picked up some chocolate.
Think so?
Yeah. Right around the edges of the vanilla. The winter beard.
All right. First of all, definitely very...
One word, stop. What's your first word? And I want you to think of a word that is an experience kind of a word, not a flavor word. I'm curious what word you'd come up with, because a word just came right to me. We'll do the flavors and whatnot in just a second. I'm curious.
If I was to throw, I'd be mellow.
I was thinking gentle.
All right.
Yeah. All right.
Definitely. Okay, first off, definitely, this is a whole different ball game for us in the sense that what we've been trying beforehand to this one, you could definitely taste the smoke and that bourbon right as it goes past the backside of your tongue and as it starts to coat the beginning of your throat. You definitely can. The aftertaste I can still pick up. I can still pick up that burnt flavoring. Not so medicinal, but they feel very warm. It was very warm as it went down. I can't say I've complained about this in the sense that I'm like, ooh,
Yeah.
very, and I'll use the term again, mellow.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely didn't fight its way down. I was like, oh, okay.
No.
But I can definitely feel maybe a little numb on the backside of my palate, just from the sheer fact of where this is from and the fact that it did have this peaty, smoky taste as it developed. You catch a little bit of the sweetness on the front side, but very, very minimal. Not enough to say, oh, okay, I'm gonna be tasting this sweetness that all of a sudden changes. This is like there's just like a tick the box. It's there, and then all of a sudden it goes into this cavalcade of this smoky, peaty adventure that you sort of reckon like, oh, okay, I can do this. This is quite palatable. I'm not gonna freaking struggle with this. And definitely, like I said, I feel some heat in here, but not like something that would be like running towards after a frosty autumn evening and be like, I gotta pour myself some of this to warm up.
Right.
Food wise, I could see this definitely going well with some sort of beef stew or something along those lines after the fact that you like had something to eat and you're like, okay,
Yeah.
and this is a little bit lighter.
Pair with something robust.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, it's actually rather good.
Well, I think, you came up with mellow and gentle popped right in. As it spent a little time in my mouth, I mean, on the nose, I really picked up on a lot of that sweetness. And I just had a passing smell of some coconut. I'm just looking for it, right? And so just one of these. But my point is while it was trying to experience some of the flavors in the mouth, smoke did what it does. It rose. And so while it was in my mouth and I was finding some flavors, the smoke was already in my nose. Right, it just rose out of the liquid up into the sinus, and it was, but not overpowering, not unpleasant, rather pleasant actually, and it just fell back, and it probably chest, and it lasted a little while, and so I'll agree with Mal that if we were out tobogganing or something, this isn't going to run in and have a Bowmore small batch bourbon cask. It's going to warm us right up. That's not what I think.
No.
But for a fall evening,
Yep. Sitting around a fire.
yeah, and some stew,
Yep.
absolutely.
I mean,
this is a whiskey for that.
What is interesting, and I think at some stage as we hit more of these peaty, smoky areas, what is interesting to me is the fact that they create a taste in a liquid that brings out the smoke, that brings out that it's not even mistaken. You can tell it's smoke, and it's interesting that they can bottle this, and then that taste goes on to the person who's drinking it and be like, oh, that's smoke. That's nothing else but smoke.
Well, if you've ever had a truly very peaty whiskey, right? I mean, the smoke can become the dominant experience, right?
There's a couple out there that we've had.
And it can be really what you're drinking is this robust, smoky whiskey. And what we're drinking here is sort of this very mellow, gentle, smoke accompanied whiskey.
This would be a great way to introduce someone who is like a novice or hasn't really been around the Scotch world a long time, and they would like, you know what, I'd like to try something different. I've done my easygoing space on.
I've had a Cardew,
and they were like, well, I'd like to try something different, but I don't want to be put off by the taste.
Right.
This would be a perfect example.
This is a nice. Look, this would be an entry to the smoke.
This gives you an Isla. It's freaking sitting right here. These are the characteristics that come from that area. You're going to be dealing with smoke. You're going to be dealing with pee. But this is be a great way to say, hey, look, this will just ease you there. You won't get put off. Right. So I put ice in mine.
Ooh, surprise!
Yeah. And
I had water, right?
And smell wise, still good.
I'm still, I'd like to identify that lime. That would be interesting if I could feel like I hit some lime.
Again, because of the cooling influence of the ice, what this has done is truly made this a little bit more mellow for me. I'm having a hard time finding the lime.
I haven't hit it. I did find the coconut on the nose for a moment.
And maybe I'm looking at it from a different wrong way, but I just don't see it. But I will say this: the ice now sort of reckon kicks the freaking smoke and says, "Hey, let me just take it up a notch," and it's allowed me to reckon really, like you say, come through the nasal passages, and I can really now taste it more so than I did before. It's still really pleasant.
Right.
It's not going to be a face changer. Be like, oh, you know.
Right. And we've had that experience before, where the water, because I'm having the same response, where the water or the ice really seems to highlight a little bit more of the smoke.
Yeah.
And we've had that experience with some other whiskeys here. I think in particular maybe the Loch Lomond.
Yes.
When we had Chatty Matty here, I think the water and the ice brought out a little bit more of the smoke in that whiskey as well.
Yeah, I can't find that one.
Yeah, and it's under the savor, under their tasting recommendation, the savor. So it should be somewhere in the end of something.
Yeah, and maybe it's the fact that I'm sort of
Well,
biased.
you know, so I just want to stop you there for a second. As I think about the limey, right? Right, so it's a British thing, right? About spending too much time on the sea and not having enough of the vitamin C and getting the scurvy, right?
Exactly.
And so I just had a passing experience of the ocean in my mouth. And so I wonder if they're connecting it somewhere in there rather than just in the true flavor of lime. But it really, because they do talk a little bit about the sea saltiness, and I did just have some ocean.
So in typical Scottish fashion, they're taking a dig at English people.
Right, it could be like this.
Just saying lime, and then we're going to expand upon that. That really means limey. I will say this, and this is not rubbish BS type of stuff and just backing my partner up. There is some truth to beyond what you're saying. There is almost undertone of the sea spray is the way I'm going to put this.
Okay, I like that.
I don't find that it's overpowering. I don't find that it's something that you're definitely going to pick up every sip you take. But there's a backside taste to this. Right at the very end, that has almost, you know when you have a potato chips, salt, and you've eaten them, and just as you've digested it all, the last bit, you catch a bit, and there's just a little bit of that hint of salt, just a little tip. I get that bit of it. But as for the lime part, unless they're taking the piss out of the English people, I have a very hard time finding the lime, and I have a very hard time
stop. I just had a citrus experience. And I really did. I just finished my glass, and I heard a little, and again, I'm not going to go totally to lime, but citrus isn't uncommon in a Scotch.
Yes.
And I just had a little citrus explosion. So what's interesting to me, Malcolm, and I know we're getting a little long in the tooth here, this is, established 1779, the first Islay malt, engraved in the bottle. We're getting a little long in the tooth. What was I trying to say? Oh, this is a young whiskey. This is a no-age statement, and we've had a little bit of that conversation, so the likelihood of this being less than 10 years old is high.
Yes.
Right, and so it's not complex in some of those standout, robust, bam, bam, bam. It's very subtle in its complexity.
Yes.
Because we're both identifying quite a number of experiences here, but they all seem mellow, gentle, subtle.
Yeah, it's definitely not something that's going to slap you in the face and say, "Hey, look at me." But it's definitely something that you could sit down and drink and enjoy, and not be put off by the region.
Right.
You know, so if you're looking, like I said, if you're looking for an introduction, this is a perfect.
I like what you've just said about being put off by the region, because oftentimes there will be folks who will come here to the bar and be like, "Oh, I don't really care for the Islas," right? And they're thinking of something more robust when they say something like that. And so this would be something I might say, "Well, hold on, try this one."
Yes.
Yeah.
And I've just finished my glass. I'm hoping I would get the same experience as you.
Yeah. Did you get no citrus?
I don't find that citrus.
Yeah.
I don't find the coconut. I don't find
That's
the citrus.
because, you know,
And it
because
maybe-
you
maybe-
live a citrus life, you lie me.
Yeah, and it maybe this is the sheer fact that
Yeah.
my palate is not as diverse as it should be.
Yeah.
But I think the fact that there's smoke and peat,
Yep.
I think those types of things are sort of being like, okay,
Yeah.
this is what we're about. I think you'd have to really maybe look into it, maybe take your time a little bit more, maybe sit down and
Yeah.
have a few drinks, and then start to pull those other colors out of it. But as I know for this one glass, no coconut, no
Yeah.
lime.
I no. I got the coconut and the citrus. All right, so why don't we wrap it up?
Yeah.
So this is the Bowmore 40% bourbon cask, small batch, no age statement, commonly available.
Yep. Good drink.
And so why don't we do something we've never done? So remember Siskel and Ebert? You're from
Oh my
country.
good lord, yeah.
You do? Right?
Oh yeah, the two guys who did the movie.
Movies, right. We're gonna give this 2 thumbs up. All right. So
Was that just one?
I think we were supposed to just do one. 2 thumbs up from
my bad. 2
from,
thumbs up. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. Siskel and Ebert.
Okay. So as we're trying to do, cheers in a language, we're going to say to your health in Italian today. Now people give me rubbish about Italian, but the first letter is I. So some people say Italian, but it's Italian. So to your health.
To your health.
Salute.
Salute.